Yo, 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 I see yo, my Niji. I see yo. What's going on, guys? This is Dr. Shine, Dr. Cheap the Sunflower, back with another video. Trying to get my lighting together. Just a second. Boom. Now that's better. Alright. How y'all feeling today? What's going on, my Niji? Alrighty. So, welcome to the chat, guys. This is Dr. Cheapest Sunflower back with another live video for the Hood to Hood podcast. And you guys, today I was like not feeling day 26 of the Consistency Project. I was not feeling it, and I just can't quit though. So that's why I'm back here with another podcast, just to continue to break this generational curse of inconsistency when it comes to showing up every day for yourself and tapping into a whole nother level of power. Okay? So a lot of people are going to watch this on the replay just because I'm here pretty late tonight, but better late than never. It's Sunday and I just don't lock myself into a time. But as you can see from the title, tonight we are pivoting to something a little bit more motivational, something that I need today and something that maybe someone around the world needs today at this moment, at this very, very second. It's the title of our broadcast tonight is called Success Disguised as Failure. Okay? This is going to tap into a core truth. The path to greatness is often paved with lots and lots of setbacks. So if you have a successful story, or if you ever come from poverty or went from hood to hood, you know that success comes with a lot of setbacks. Alright, guys? And every loss is not really a loss though. It's a setup for what? For elevation. Okay? So tonight we'll be learning how sometimes people can normalize failure as a tool versus the final result. So if you fail, it's only success in disguise, because the blessing in failing is that you're supposed to learn a lesson and use the failure as a tool. Alright? So this is going to be speaking into the imposter syndrome, doubt, or the fear of starting over. For instance, on YouTube, I've been on this platform, especially this channel. I have other channels that are like baby channels. I've been on this platform for over 10 years, I think. But I was a dental student. I really didn't take it serious, and I kind of felt like I wasn't finding my groove on here. So sometimes that imposter syndrome can kick in, doubt, feeling like, dang, I've been on here, not being consistent, I just don't even want to start over. So this Consistency Project is me starting over again, to build that audience, to show up, and just to grow my skill set when it comes to consistency, discipline, and the lack of procrastination. If you can recall from our previous podcast, the consistency, or the CDP formula, which is my formula, is consistency plus discipline minus procrastination equals a glow up, a flow, or just magnificent things entering your life. All right? So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Success disguised as failures, lessons from the setback. Okay? And again, this is day 26 of the Consistency Project. And you guys, you see how late it is? I did not want to show up today. Sometimes it be like that. When you're doing something for a whole year straight, you know how when you say you're going to go to the gym every day or go to the gym a couple times a week, and then time just takes over your life. It seems like time goes faster, and it's much more easier to not do what you said you're going to do and relax and just chill and be comfortable than it is to be successful and follow your dreams. Believe it or not, people on the outside looking in see the final results of success. They see the big house, the fancy cars, the clothes, but they don't see what people who are building success, what they say in their eyes, truly go through. Now, I'm still trying to figure it out, this hood to hooded thing. Yes, I'm hood to hooded, but I'm trying to get from hooded to wealthy, which has been like pulling teeth, honestly, especially as a dental practice owner. Every day I face setbacks. Every year it seems like I face setbacks in this hood to hooded journey since I've been born. Poverty has a way of keeping a grip on you for a very long time. Those generational curses follow you every decade of your life if you do not figure out how to solve them. Okay? Tomorrow, before we get into the rest of our broadcast, I just want to fill you guys in. What we will be discussing tomorrow on the broadcast is economics. All right? So we will be kind of brushing on to microeconomics. Okay? And going over terms such as recession, depression, inflation, all of those type of things, tariffs, financial literacy, and how important it is. So we will be discussing that tomorrow. But today, I just want to do something a little bit less, I don't know, because I'm always trying to give you the meat and the potatoes and the financial literacy, which is great, but sometimes we need a moment just to meditate, a moment just to sit and think and plan and just get back into our zen and reset, especially if you feel like you're in a place where your success is being threatened, or if you are still plagued with generational curses that are holding you back mentally, or if you just quit on yourself and talk yourself out of being strong, wise, and consistent with your goals. Okay? So, to my Niji out there, now is the time to not live in fear, not pay so much attention to the news. Pay attention, but not to the point where you are just having fear. Enter your mindset. Okay? So, success doesn't always show up looking like success, which is why this is called success in disguise. Alright? Success disguised as failure. Because many people will think that they failed because something didn't go right, it didn't go according to their plans, you didn't make as much as you wanted to. When you open your business, it didn't do as good as you wanted to do. You were near failure, or you just have a lot of stress on your plate. So it can seem like you're failing, but really, my Niji, this is the time when we should be learning the biggest lessons of our life. Alright? Sometimes success shows up as failure. It shows up as loss, embarrassment, or doors slammed in your face. Right? That's like me with my dental practice. Sometimes it seems like I don't know what the hell I'm doing, because we go to dental school to learn teeth. We don't go to the dental school and learn business, and then the business minor that I have does very little to teach you how to make money, how to budget money, how to, minimize overhead, the ins and outs of running a business. It teaches you nothing about life after the hooded process. So that's why this Hood to Hooded podcast exists, so that we can break down the barriers with financial literacy, break down the barriers with mental stagnation, and the things that prevent us from living and being our best and achieving success. In the midst of the failures, aka the lessons that so many of us experience, coming from poverty, coming from underserved backgrounds, under the thumb of colonization, under the matrix system, that mindset, under the black identity, the African American identity. All of these generational curses really hinder the Niji. And somebody said, what is Niji? So Niji just means the Aboriginal, Indigenous, melanated, copper tone people of Turtle Island, which is America, aka the West Indies, the whole continent before colonization by the Italians, the French, the Russians, Great Britain, the Japanese. All of these people had a hand to play in this. So when I'm talking about Niji, that's what I'm talking about. Niji just means friend, you know. And Turtle Island is just the land. But really, my genealogy traces back to Muskogee, Choctaw, Creek, Yamasee, all those tribes, the Mississippians, all right? And in order to find your tribe and where your lineage or where your ancestors are derived from, you have to do your genealogy, okay? Alrighty, so moving right along for tonight, redefining failure. Okay, failure is not the opposite of success, it's the pathway to success. Some people see, okay, are you a success or are you a failure? But really, failure is just on the road to success. It's kind of unavoidable. So a lot of people view failure as a reason or excuse to quit. That's what they do. When they fail or when they don't succeed in their eyes, you can be really hard on yourself, get discouraged. You have doors slammed in your face 100 times. Some people would quit. Some people will say, I've been trying and trying and trying. It just seems like it's not fucking working for me. I've been trying to get my mindset together, but the depression seems to take me out. I've been trying to start this business, but it seems like I can't get over this hump, this overhead. It seems like I keep running into roadblocks that are making me feel like I need to just give this shit up. Okay? How many of you feel like that out there? Or have felt like that before? Like, you know, it's just not working. I'm just throwing in the fucking towel. Like, I don't have time for this. It's delusional, trying to stick to your goals when it seems like it's not working. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. When I was in pursuit of my doctoral degree, it was everything but a pretty scene. From birth to losing my mom to not having my dad in the household, having a zero parent household, having custody battles. And I talk about this a lot because a lot of people experience these things. Childhood trauma, you know. There's so many things that a teenager has to go through in the hood, from men trying to molest you while you were a teenager. How many young girls felt that pressure from boys sexually when you're a teenager? If you don't have your father figure, you make a lot of fucking mistakes when it comes to men, when it comes to life, when it comes to budgeting, when you just don't have a roadmap, when you really just straight raw from the hood. People don't understand how it's just so easy for you to make a decision that ruins your whole life. When I was that young, I made so many decisions with relationships, with budgeting, with life, with just everything, that I felt like I was always failing. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. I always felt like failure was going to prevent me from being successful. But despite that feeling, I knew that I could not quit. Failure had to be somewhere in the midst of success. I just knew that I couldn't quit. And I am hot as hell in this sweater. Ooh, gotta take this thing off. I'm about to burn up, chat. I'm about to burn up, y'all. Alright. Yeah, I'm about to burn up. That alone. Yeah. So, redefining failure. All right? So, again, it's not the opposite of success. It is on the pathway to success. So, you bound to run into some issues in life that will make you just want to quit. That will make you say, you know what, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be. So, I'm going to turn around, go the other way. Society teaches us to avoid failures, but winners study failures. So if you want to win, you have to study failure and know how to use it as a tool versus as an excuse. Okay? So we talk about how before the light bulb was invented, Edison, he had 1,000 light bulb attempts before he was successful. He tried it 1,000 times. Thomas Edison. Oprah, before she became the billionaire that she is and stepped out on her own mindset and used her autonomy to start the Oprah show, she was fired from TV. Michael Jordan, you know, we all love some J's in the hood, right? But he was cut from his high school basketball team. He didn't come out and just become this superstar like LeBron out of high school. He had a whole nother story, but look at his shoes now. Look at his legacy now, his story now. Just look at it. Okay? So these stories remind us that failure is on the road to success. The same way with me. I failed so many times. I failed classes. I failed a lot in my journey to getting into dental school, right? So my first year applying, I didn't get in. I failed at the interview. I was a crybaby at the interview. I felt I had the imposter syndrome. I had so much doubt that I didn't even believe in myself. And I counted myself out that year. But the thing about that year that was so critical for me, and the reason why I am here today to still be able to talk to you about failure and how it can impact your life, is because I didn't quit. I used that year of me not getting in as a lesson. I used it as a lesson to go back to the drawing board and try again. Some people would have said, well, damn, I didn't get but one interview. I bombed that. I'm not going to try again. But whenever you're supposed to do something, there will be a sign for you to do it. So when it was time for me to, well, after I failed the interview and I cried like a baby because I felt like, hey, I'm a black girl. At the time I felt black. And I have these white interviewers, and all the other candidates are Caucasian. I'm not gonna get in here. I counted myself out. I probably could have got in. It was all in my head. But everything happened for a reason. I needed to fail. I needed to go to that experience. I needed that. Because guess what? The next year, I came back harder. I beefed up my application. And I got a call from the lady who interviewed me at the University of Florida. And she said, hey, we really like you. We really want you here. But when you cry, they know you're not ready. And I wasn't ready. So she suggested I go get a master's degree and go do more to beef up my application. But the next year, I did start some master's courses. But the next year, I applied again. Because I said, you know, I'm not going to wait until I get a whole master's degree and to apply. I need to apply every year, you know. So I applied the next year. Got an interview. Aced it. Got in. But imagine if I had to use that year of crying like a baby, feeling inadequate, feeling like I wasn't going to get in, counting myself out as the standard. I use it as it was a failure, but it was on the way to success. Okay? And that's how you have to look at it. We've been taught from a hood perspective to fear looking bad more than we've been taught to grow. So we feared looking bad. We feel like it's going to be embarrassing if we fail versus feeling like we are growing in the process. All right? Failure is feedback, and it's not final, my Niji. It is not final. Even for me, running a dental practice, every day I face failure. Every day I don't know what tomorrow brings. Coming with the economy, things are changing, overhead is already sky high, and then we have to figure out so many moving parts. So every day I'm, you know, just hoping that I can make it out of the 5 years that it takes for a new practice to thrive. A lot of people look at me like, oh my God, you're a dentist, you have a dental practice, you're balling out. They don't see the failures that are constantly staring me in the face. They don't see that. So, for me, I just keep going, and if it's meant to be, it's going to be. If I'm a great dentist and the patients are going to come, and I have to pivot my business so often with, it's just so much pivoting when it comes to success. You have to learn to adapt to the changes that will impact your life and your business and make critical decisions about your life. And if you come from dental school, like I said, they don't teach you business. They only teach you dentistry with a little tiny bit of business, maybe, if you can call it that. So the business part is up to you to discover and find out and research. So for me, I came into a dental practice just excited and not knowing much about it, but feeling like I can do this. Like, I feel like I can do anything, right? When you get into it, it's like, whoa, this is a lot more than I thought that it would be. And I really need to be super optimistic, even on the days when shit look crazy. Even on the days when I'm just like, wow, is this a mistake that I'm making? Should I keep going? I feel like I'm failing. In the back of your mind, you might feel like you're failing, but these are all lessons. Okay, my Niji? It's just lessons. That's it. Lessons of life. Lessons of life. Right? So, let's talk about common failures that equal hidden success. Right? Let's break down three real life situations that may be common failures, but they are equal to hidden success. So number one is a job loss. So we know that the economy that we live in today in America, with tariffs and Trump doing whatever the hell he wants, and them eliminating a lot of jobs, and the great reset, as they call it, they trying to get back to some type of gold standard, or who knows what the hell is going on. But a lot of people are facing job loss. So you could look at this as a failure, and this is a common failure because people are losing their jobs left and right? Or you just don't like your job. But really, this could be a hidden success. How many people out there have experienced job loss, and it has pushed them into another dimension to start the business out of like just a necessity, or just having this idea, but then when you lose the job, it frees up your time and your mind so you can really be creative, start that business. And some people have become millionaires way faster than they ever could or never would working a job because they got fired from their job. Okay? And there's so many success stories like that. There is a lady called Ellie. Ellie Talks Money. Her story is she had 3 kids. Husband left. She lost her job, or she quit her job, one of the two. And she was in her mom's basement or in her mom's house again. She started teaching financial literacy on Instagram, YouTube, blew up. Now she's this multimillionaire, all because of a failure. And there's so many people who have that same exact story. All right? And a lot of you out there, a lot of us out here, I should say, have this same story where we just feel like, dang, I'm failing. Before I started this dental practice, I felt like I was failing as an associate. I was experiencing burnout, working 5 days a week, 8 to 5, and it seems like I was seeing 3 to 4 patients an hour sometimes, and it was just too much. So I counted that as a failure, and I said, hey, this is pushing me to start a business. Even though this business, I was optimistic about it, and it really is a stressful thing, it's not a failure. It's a hidden success. You just have to be patient until you get to the successful part. Number 2 is a relationship breakup, right? So you going through this relationship breakup, it might drain you for the first couple days. You might feel bad and down, and I know As a teenager, when I would break up, I just thought it was the end of the fucking world, not knowing this is the time for me to have personal healing. This is my personal healing journey. So use that breakup as a way to tap into yourself, get back to you, and give yourself some self-love. Give your mind some self-love. Take it easy. Don't get so wrapped up in the other people that you forget to love yourself. When you're on the airplane and you are a mother and they say, hey, put your airbag on first before you put it on the kid. They tell you that for a reason. You can't help other people until you help yourself. You can't love other people until you help yourself. So a breakup, sometimes that's needed, right? Don't look at it as a failure. You are still beautiful. You are still strong. You are still amazing and capable of doing and being the creative, kind, thriving, successful person that you know that you can be, right? Number 3, school rejection. I just talked about this one. Some people will view school rejection, okay, you trying to get into this program, there's applications and a lot of different prerequisites before you get admitted to some schools or programs, such as dentistry, any type of program, or even going to college. So that is like terrifying to some people. That whole process is terrifying. Going and applying to dental school, medical school, pharmacy school, any of those programs is terrifying. Law school, any type of school rejection can be terrifying. It takes a while for you to rebuild your confidence, to try again, and to pivot. When I got rejected from dental school at first cycle because I was a crybaby and counted myself out, I had to rebuild my confidence. Now, of course, that professor who interviewed me calling and giving me that boost of confidence after I cried, saying, hey, don't you quit. Now, I think you got potential. That really gave me a boost of confidence. And it gave me the motivation to try again. So sometimes it's about who you have in your corner. Her call motivated me to know, hey, my test scores are good. I had a chance to talk to her. She said, you don't need to take that test over. You need to get more courses, get your GPA up. And really what she was saying is, we want you, but your confidence. It was the confidence that I was lacking. I don't have parents to instill this confidence in me. My mom, before she passed, I wasn't living with her, but the times that I did spend with her, she was always instilling confidence in me. But as a child, that fades away as you grow up without parents in the household. They are the ones who give you that confidence. So even up to college, I lost that confidence. So school rejection can cause that. And some people won't try again. Fortunately, I tried again. I said, hey, I have to do more to amp up my application and try again and pivot. And because of that critical decision, because of that mindset to not quit or use my failures with failing classes, not having a perfect GPA, not having a perfect interview that first year, not, standing on business and being confident, it can cost you your success. It can cost you your dreams big time. Really, really big time. I want to put that out there. So be confident. Even when you don't succeed at first, still keep your confidence. Whether you lose a job, whether you lose a relationship, or whether you get rejected in any way, shape, or form, that does not determine how far you can continue to go. Look at so many stories of people who have failed, went back and tried again, and then somewhere along the road, somewhere along that journey, you will find the door to the success that is perfect for you. Okay? Now, if you failed recently, congrats. You're in good company. Now, go extract the lesson from your failure. Okay? Let me repeat that. If you failed recently, congratulations to you. Now, what did you learn from it? What lesson is there to be learned from this? How are you going to pivot? How are you going to pick your head back up, put your shoulders back up, stand tall, and try again? How are you going to adapt to any pessimistic energy that might be entering your dream or your goal or your objective in life or your purpose? You have a purpose. And sometimes when you have a purpose, failure is a part of you getting to find out that purpose. Okay? It is. So I just want to ask you guys a couple questions. What what is a failure that you have survived? Just think about it. And how has it shaped your grind today? Okay? And one thing you can do is write down your failures and what they taught you and celebrate your resilience. Celebrate your fight back. How you just fought back and didn't let it take you out. You reframed the setbacks. It didn't happen to me, it happened. It didn't happen to me, it happened for me, is the way that we want to think. These failures didn't happen to me, they happened for me. So every hardship that I ever faced in life, it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Okay? All of the trials and the traumatic experiences I faced in life, they didn't happen to me, they happened for me. Even up into the D4 year of dental school, where it's supposed to be the joyous year of your life, having pain and surgery and chemo drugs and getting really sick, that happened to me. It didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Why? Because there's somebody out there right now going through a program. They're sick, don't know if they're going to make it through the program because they all of a sudden got sick, or all of a sudden experienced a loss, a tragedy, a breakup, right? Somebody out there. And just think about, how is this going to shape your future? How are you going to use this experience to help you grind harder, to be more creative, to get your strength back up, to be resilient? Okay? Because these things don't happen to you, they happen for you if you aren't a quitter, right? So we got somebody in the chat. Hi from New Jersey. Hi Swift, how are you? Hello, New Jersey in the building. So yeah, these things don't happen to us, they happen for us. Okay? So just think about, what failure have you survived? Like, how has it shaped you? I could go on and on with the amount of failures that I have survived. But what failures have you survived? Because remember, they are episodes of success. Failure is disguised as success. I don't know if I said that right. Let me go back to my beginning. Success disguised as failure. There we go. I said it backwards, guys. That's just like me showing up on this live here tonight, because I made a commitment to be consistent. And sometimes the day gets away from me. I'm like, damn, I can't quit on my consistency challenge. So I have to show up whenever. And 26 days strong of showing up. And it's hard as hell having a dental practice and trying to do streaming, but I think that I can do it. And this is how you have to be. You may not be perfect in your journey to success. You may not be perfect along your dreams. Okay? But guess what? Don't quit. You just can't quit. So I feel resilient. I feel my consistency skill set building, but it is very flawed. It's very flawed. Streaming is, especially every day, can be very intimidating. So I get on here still, even though I feel intimidated, even though I feel like, dang, this stream may not be going the best, but I still get on here because guess what? Guess what, chat? I'm learning a big lesson. A year from now, streaming on Twitch, getting the technology in place, learning about all the glitches that have been happening, controlling the mic, being a one-person show, coming up with content, coming up with creative scenes, all these different things is teaching me something. So even though I'm only on day 26, in 365 days, just imagine the growth. Imagine if you did that for yourself. Every day, if you have a dream or a goal and something has been holding you back, I need you to shake it off today. I need you to get rid of it. I need you to tap back in to your greatness, my Niji. Tap back into your greatness. Okay? We are resilient people. When we think about our ancestors and how much they had to overcome and how much trauma, drama, manipulation, colonization, fear, setbacks that they experience, when you think about Black Wall Street, Niji Wall Street, but Black Wall Street and how they were thriving, how the dollar stayed in their community for months. Because they have this statistic going around now where African Americans, aka Niji, aka melanated people of America, Turtle Island, the money only stays in the community after they get paid like a couple hours. And this has been all designed by colonization. It only stays for a couple hours. Okay? In the Caucasian community, it stays a little bit longer. But the record still holds true that Black Wall Street, the money stayed way longer than it does now. They had a thriving community where we supported each other. The Niji supported each other. They had news stations, coffee shops, doctors, lawyers, grocery stores, banks. They had all of these things until the government got mad, committed massacres and took it all away. That's tragedy. Our ancestors had to go through that. Tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. Right? So let's go back because I want to give y'all the real numbers. It says in Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood District, it's often cited that the black dollar circulated within the community 36 times, or about 1 full year before leaving the community. A whole year that money circulated in our community before it was taken away by the government using war tactics. Okay? A whole year. Just think about that, my Niji. Just think about that. The number 36 times refers to how frequently money changed hands within the black community before being spent outside of the community. Modern estimates suggest it could have circulated 6 months to a year, depending on the source. Compared to today, how long do you think the money circulates today? And they could tell you, after they did that and it was taken away from them, the government bombed it, took it away, left them dependent on the government now. Now they don't have anything. It was a tragedy, my Niji. It was a tragedy. It was a failure. It haunted us. This is what our ancestors had to go through. Not just this incident, so many other incidents of things being taken away, right? So modern estimates today suggest that it circulates 6 hours or less before leaving the black community, right? So we went from circulating the money 36 times between our businesses, to for a whole year to 6 hours. That is terrible. But it was all designed to be that way. So that's why running a business as Niji is hard. You have the odds stacked against you because this country does not want us to be great. It wants us to depend on the government. It wants us to depend on colonized business systems. It wants us to not have time to be creative, work a 9 to 5, to look at failure as the end, to look at the things that we try to do. If it doesn't work out, you might as well just quit, go work for somebody else. Look, if my dental office fails because of tariffs and because I'm still learning business, it's in a huge learning curve and I don't have a lot of family support with this business. I mean, hey, I need a loan, family, or something. when you don't have that type of family support, the success chances are slim. But guess what? You can't quit. I can't quit because I know the odds that are stacked against me. You have odds stacked against you, and they're visible, they're evident, and they're in place on purpose. It's not like these things were designed in place like, oh, this was a mistake. These things are on purpose. But still, Black Wall Street and other centers of melanated community businesses still hold a record for the amount of time the dollar was in circulation. All right? Why did it last so long? Why did the dollar last so long back then to now? Because of one, segregation. We were segregated, of course. But also because black owned businesses met nearly all needs. Think about that today. A lot of us don't want to pursue dental careers, or we're being blocked out of these careers, or a lot of people don't want to do those bread and butter careers or go to school so long nowadays. There's so many options. Everyone wants to be an actress or a social media influencer or things like that versus other careers. And we've been locked out of them. Okay? But back then they had businesses that serve all their needs. That's why it's important on this Hood to Hood podcast that we recognize the impact that having a business in your community and providing a service to your people, we recognize the impact that has. Me having a dental practice has been one hell of a fight, and it's still a hell of a fight. And every day, like I said, I put positive energy towards my business because I know what I'm up against. I know that I can fail. I know this. I see it so clearly. I know the things that I lack. But because I know that, I have to keep going and just hopefully that it keeps growing. But if it doesn't, I will take these lessons of failure to keep trying to attain success. Right? So back then they had doctors, they had dentists, banks, schools, hotels, grocery stores, law offices, theaters, transportation services. There was no stone unturned. They had a minimal economic reliance on white-owned institutions back then. But because of this, the white-owned government became jealous and said, we need y'all to rely on us. So we're going to destroy what you guys have built because you do not spend money with us. We're going to loot, take your shit, and now you're relying on us. Now all of these years later, we're relying on government. A lot of us are relying on the government to give a paycheck, relying on the government or another white-owned institutions to give us a job just to make a living. We won't rely on our own talent, creativity, and ideas. We won't even write our ideas down because we're too busy working a 9 to 5 all week that when we get off, you just want to go to sleep and then you got to go back and do it again. It is like living in a box. It's like prison if you want to act. That's what it's like. By not having the ability to keep our money circulating, by not having the ability to teach our history of ourselves to each other, and by not having the ability to have fairness and equality when it comes to running a business, starting a business. Even so, these tariffs they have discovered in the first 100 days, they have impacted the melanated community more. A lot of this is because of what we're talking about now. We rely on the government. We rely on white-owned businesses for these services now. We rely on them for, what were the services again? The doctor. Okay? We know that there are only 2 historically black colleges and universities in America, Howard and Meharry. The rest of them are Caucasian. So that's only 3 to 4%. So, of course, we're going to be short there. It's a disadvantage, right? Dentists. There's only 3% of melanated dentists, NEG, in America. Only 3%. So we already short there now. Banks. There's only one, I think, black-owned bank. Maybe there's more now, but there's not that many. Out of all the banks you see, there's only one now because they destroyed them, right? Imagine if those banks and dentists and doctors from back in the day were still able to thrive without being harassed and their whole economy just destroyed with fire. They had their own schools. They were able to teach their children, the needy children, their history without it being banned, versus now it's banned. You can't learn about yourself unless you go on YouTube and you follow something like the Hood to Hood podcast, or you got Lena, you got Tim and Phoebe, you got Baba Ronson, you got so many, Dane Calloway, you have so many people putting out this knowledge. You got Chief Sacred 9, Dr. Chief the Sunflower, spreading this knowledge. But if you don't have the mindset to go and get it, they're going to feed you what they want. So when you send your kids to school, they giving the kids what they want them to know about how to be a worker, how to have a 9 to 5, how to sit your ass down for 8 hours, shut up, go home and get this paycheck. Okay? Hotels, we didn't have to pay for a hotel. Well, we had to pay for it, but it was black owned. Now, how many hotels do you see that are Niji owned, melanated owned? Grocery stores. I can't find a grocery store that's owned by us. Maybe Atlanta has some now, but that's not typical, especially in a place like New York. Law offices. You can find some melanated law offices. Now, I love my the judges on the TV. Judge Lynn Tolliver, Judge Lauren Lake, and Judge Maybelline. I love my judges and the Cutlers. But imagine how many we would have if a lot of those offices were not destroyed. Theaters, transportation services, okay? There was a strong sense of economic solidarity and by melanated culture. I hate saying black, but melanated culture, okay? That's why it lasted that long. Now, it says, this symbolizes the intense economic self-sufficiency of Black Wall Street before the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. So these things that happened back then, when they unallowed these people from living their best life, it impacts us now in so many ways. These type of things are propaganda. They put fear in people. They have trauma. It's a fear of not wanting to start over and just giving up, because once you get something taken away from you in that manner, you don't want to keep going. It's just an everlasting stain in your mind. So between events like this, reclassification of our identity, not having access to our money for longer than 6 hours or less. How many people get their check now, especially days with all the bills, where you get your check 2 hours later, you pay your bills, you're back to square fucking zero. But imagine back then when the money stayed in our community for a whole year before we let go of the dollar. It's the same with your dreams. You cannot let go of your dreams so quick. So just like this, when we give away money so quickly, you can't do that. You can't give away your dreams so quickly. We got to be like how they were back when there was Black Wall Street. We got to keep holding on to our dreams and see it out to the end. We got to keep holding on to that idea to be a banker, to have a bank. You can do this, to have your own insurance company, to have your own basketball team, to have your own publishing company, to have your own candle making business, to have your own streaming company, to have your own newspaper, television station. Whatever it is that you want to do, even if it's a big ass dream. A lot of people have these big dreams and they feel like they pipe dreams because they won't write it down. They won't even think about it on a consistent basis and research it and see what is involved to make this difficult dream come to life. What books do I need to do? What websites and communities are there online already that I can use as a resource to make this dream come to life? Before I got into dental school, I saw the dental students and I just looked up to them so much, right? I'm like, dang, I want to be there one day. But to get inside, I had to find different, what would the blogs, right? Full of dentists. See what tests they're taking. What books are they researching to pass a test? What courses are they taking? And get into that community. So you really need to do research to get yourself to where you want to be and pivot. Pivot, pivot, pivot is the biggest word of the night. Whenever you are faced with failure or those lessons that are called failures or those failures which are really disguised, it's really your opportunity for success if you don't let it trick you out of your spot. Okay? So we can't let any setbacks, relationships, job loss, this tariffs, none of this bullshit trick us out of our spot today. Okay, my Niji? Just like me, I did not want to show up today. And consistency is just so hard because those are the times when you must show up the most, when you really don't want to. How many gym fanatics out there know if you consistent with the gym, sometimes you just don't want to go. Sometimes you just don't feel like getting on the treadmill. But once you get on and you get that momentum and you're sweating and you're going, once you finish, it is the most amazing feeling to push through when you least fucking want to. When you least want to, my Niji. For instance, me with my dental practice. Every day, I have mixed emotions. Like, dang, like, I'm at a point in this journey where I could keep going or I could throw in the towel. And I made a decision to keep going. And I'm still like, is this the best decision? Is it time for me to just, do something different? I really need so much support, but it's just not there. I feel like it's just not going to happen for me in the way that it happens for other people. So I have to keep pushing in a hooded way. Okay? I need that cheering from my bloodline. I need that, but when you don't really have that and it's very like, it's like, okay, we think you got it already, not knowing the ins and outs. It just gets stressful. So these are the days where you just have to say, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I might be delayed, but I'm not denied. I may have more obstacles than other people, but I'm still going to keep trying. Today it looks like a failure, but it's really success in disguise. I might be facing this terrible, whatever, if you're in a relationship or job that you hate, but this is not the end. Okay? So remember, one quote that I really, really love is, why the hell are you staying in the same spot? Move. You are not a tree. Trees, they can't move. Once you plant a seed for a tree, 9 times out of 10, unless it's being sold on a tree farm, that tree is there to stay. A lot of these trees on earth have been there for millions of years, hundreds of years. These big, big trees, they can't move. You are not a tree. You don't like something don't go right, you have a failure at this door, that door is not opening, try the next door. Remember, Oprah was fired. She said, you know what, they fired me, I'm going to start my own shit. And one lesson we could take from her, she said, sign your own checks. Some people get too up there, they don't sign their own checks, right? Jordan kicked off the high school basketball team. Now one of the biggest shoe brands in the world, biggest basketball legends in the world, because he didn't let that failure say, hey, I suck at basketball, I got cut from the team, I don't want to do this. He said, you know what, y'all don't know what y'all missing, let me go back and pivot. So you got to pivot tonight. Kings and queens, chiefs and chiefesses, brothers and sisters, melanated beings from around the world. You pivot, you don't quit. Quitting is not in your DNA. Pivoting is in your DNA. Creating is in your DNA. Not being in this matrix, it's in your DNA not to be in the matrix. Okay? So, I am proud of myself for showing up here tonight. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. If you watch this on the replay, I send you nothing but positive vibes because we are going somewhere on the hood to the journey. Yes, it's not a perfect journey. It is not a perfect scene. Imperfections do exist. But the imperfections only get us closer to our goals. Alright? And before we go, I want to look up one more statistic. One more statistic. So, we went from, so this is dollar circulation by community. I want us to really get this dollar circulation by community. Break down how long the dollar circulates before it leaves various U.S. communities nowadays. So we already know about the Tulsa race massacre and Black Wall Street. There were several of those where they just destroyed greatness because it was jealousy, it was envy, it was like, oh, you can't be successful, we just gonna destroy it, and y'all gotta start over and keep starting over because we just can't let you be great. I'm tired of the government just feeling like we can't be great, reclassifying us and just doing all this BS. Like, it's just aggravating. So we went from the dollar circulating in our own communities to our own doctors, lawyers, transportation systems, grocery stores, car mechanics, all these different things, our own hotels, our own theaters, to from 1 year to 6 hours. And we are the lowest community on the dollar circulation chart. And that's fucking sad. But nobody has ever broke our record. But it just tells you how much powers are there to keep us down, to break us down, my Niji. So the Asian community is the highest. Their dollar circulates over here 20 to 30 days. The Asian American. The Jewish American, 20 days. White American, 17 days. Hispanic, 6 days. And African American, 6 fucking hours. Because we are at the bottom of the food chain now. They have made us be the bottom of the lowest. They have destroyed our history and continue to colonize our minds, prevent us from learning financial literacy, take the fathers out of the household, destroy anything that we build so that we can always stay in the mindset of the lowest. But today, my Niji, I need you to destroy that mindset and think about your ancestors, how great they were. They still hold a record where nobody even coming close to having that money circulating for 1 fucking year. Can we get back to them type of energies, to that type of vibe, where we are supporting each other, not afraid to be business owners, not afraid of the taxes, not afraid of learning, not afraid of fucking failing. Like, get it out of your head. You think you're gonna fail on YouTube? So what? Just try. Post your videos. Stop acting like you gotta be perfect. When I started this podcast, I fucked up so many times. I still mess up. I still am learning. I refuse to let it make me quit. If I want to be this streamer, if I want to have a global community, if I want to teach concepts and theory of knowledge that people don't really understand, and have these open conversations, I have to show up regardless. I cannot let my excuses, my tiredness, my doubt, my fear, FOMO, fear missing out, disturb that, right? So what does this mean? Asian and Jewish communities tend to circulate their money longer due to strong internal economies, which is what we had, which was stronger. Cultural emphasis on group economics, ownership of businesses that meet daily needs, which we already had. African American communities often have to spend outside their communities because of lack of ownership in major industries like banks, grocery stores, and utilities. Something we already had that was destroyed, and now we have to rely on other people who are using our system to make their stuff great. Historical disinvestment and barriers to business development. So the government prevented us from getting investment and put barriers in place to prevent us from developing our business, which is why a Niji like me opening up dental practice, even making it through dental school, that's already a miracle. Then to go and say, hey, I'm gonna have a dental practice, I come from the hood. Ain't no mama to call. My mom isn't here. My daddy don't know nothing. Nobody in my family knows nothing about this. I can't call no fucking body. I gotta do this on my own. So that's what is a barrier to business development. So my business is gonna take a lot longer to develop coming from poverty in the hood than someone who has legacy or someone who has a history or parents to even give them that support and confidence, right? And also in the African American communities, our dollars don't last as long because of predatory economic systems and fewer wealth preserving institutions. So everything they're going to put against us so that we can spend money outside of our communities and not with our own self. All right, that's why I love seeing people open bakeries and having plumbing and people who look like me. That's why people say, "Dang, I've never seen a black dentist." And it's true. It's very few of us, very very few of us, and that is not on purpose. That is totally on purpose with colonization to prevent people like me from getting into spaces where we thrive. Okay. Why does this matter to the Hood to Hood podcast, my Niji? We want to tie this into the importance of supporting melanated owned businesses, building infrastructure and educating around financial literacy and cooperative economics, meaning cooperating, supporting each other, sharing the business, hey, recommending a friend, word of mouth, education. Financial literacy is the new weapon. Financial literacy, okay? So Black Wall Street once circulated money 36 times. And how can we rebuild that mindset in modern ways through intentional spending and entrepreneurship? Okay, intentional spending and entrepreneurship. And on that note, my Niji, I think we have a lot of juicy ideas and the blueprint and foundation to be successful. It starts with the mind, it starts with self-love, and it starts with action. It takes action, and you need to react to the failures and the lessons. You do not need to crumble and fold. Whatever you do tonight, the only message you need to know is that you better not quit now. I'm talking to you. You better not quit. And if you quit, I need you to get back up. But no. I need you to get that business out. What you said you're going to do, I need you to do that. I need you to stand on business about that. I really need you to do that. I really need us to get back to the Wall Street mindset when we was running this shit 1 year to 6 hours. We got a lot of work to do, my Niji. We got a lot of work to do, and it starts with financial literacy. It really does. And cooperative economics, group economics. That means getting together with somebody, pooling your money, and getting some assets and some investments and some real estate and starting those businesses. All right. So I'm just happy that day 26 is in the wraps. This is the 26th. Time for me to go to sleep. This is a 365-day consistency challenge, and tonight we talked about success disguised as failure. All right. Any questions before I leave, my Niji? Anybody in the chats from any of the platforms have any questions before I dip? I'm going to open up the floor for about 2 minutes, because I hate to just cut it off like that just in case somebody's listening. I hate to cut it off like that. So yeah, we learned a lot tonight. And if you watch this on the replay, leave me a comment. Let me know you stopped by. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you don't agree with something I said, or if you want me to cover something, or if it's a topic you want me to do, put it in the chat. These are all heavy topics. It's like Hood to Hood is a theory of knowledge course nightly, because we just test knowledge, right? We want to have true knowledge, not pseudo history and not pseudo knowledge, right? So every day we just go further and further in our truths. When I was in high school, there was this program called the International Baccalaureate Program, aka the IB program. And I got in it kind of late, but in this program, we had a class called TOK, Theory of Knowledge. And I really hate this class because all we would do is have abstract topics about different things, and people would debate. And my whole thing was, it doesn't really matter. Like, I just never understood the debating. But now, as I've gotten older, I see that it's important to debate knowledge. Don't just let somebody spoon feed you knowledge without doing your research and testing the knowledge. Christianity is something that is very, it's a topic that I'm going to touch on one day. And you know, that's the major tool of colonization, but we're not going to touch on that today. But that's, that's another weapon of why we went from 100 hours to 6 hours. We spend a lot more time not focusing on ourselves and just lost in the sauce. All right. So I'm out of here, guys. Thank you for watching. Wado Mainiji. I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode, and we're gonna dive into economics tomorrow. Something a little bit more serious. All right. So yeah. Peace out.